it is Matt here from Scoop in Response, and today we are going to be looking at a new deck using Veyran, Voice of Duality. Veyran is a 1 blue and red 2/2 legendary creature, a freak wizard, and it reads Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, Veyran gets +1/+1 until end of turn. If you casting or copying an instant or sorcery spell causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So essentially this creature gets double prowess, so super cool, I guess, concept for a commander. We're going to be building it in a very stormy, wheelie type fashion. I absolutely love this commander, and I think you've got a whole bunch of ways to build it, but we're going for a full power, I guess that approaching CDH or CDH style list. So let's check out the deck. First of all, we have creatures and artifact. So we have Baral, Chief of Compliance, Dockside Extortionist, Krak the Thumbless, Snapcaster Mage, Thermo Alchemist, Vidalcan Aethermage, Young Pyromancer, Archaeomancer, Spellseeker, Imperial Recruiter, Hull Breacher, Gutter Snipe, Jewelcaster Mage, Burgi, Archmage Emeritus, Narumeha, and then the Wandering Archaic, which is another card that's come in Strixhaven as well. So the creature base for this is essentially a collection of spells matter type creatures, or storming matters sort of thing, with Burgi in that respect. We've also got Narumeha and Jewelcaster Mage, which will serve as, I guess, infinite loops to just get a whole bunch of Magecraft triggers with all of our sorceries and instants that we can loop with. So if you've played any Narumeha, that you sort of know that it pretty well goes infinite with a whole bunch of different spells, lots of different flickers and all of that kind of thing as well. You can definitely go harder down that path if you wanted to. You know, there's plenty of other creatures that can essentially do that as well. Yeah, the creature base is you know, going to be just about enabling those big storm turns so that you can either swing in for damage and do a whole bunch of commander damage and kill someone in one turn, or just generate ridiculous value off of your repeatable spells. You know, things like Krak, all of that kind of stuff is going to just really allow you to just continuously replay and copy and cast spells. So for our artifacts, we have Lion's Eye Diamond, Lotus Petal, Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Talisman of Creativity, Primal Amulet, and Pyromancer's Goggles. So these are all, you know, really sweet cards in respect that it's just about having your ramp. You know, it's everything that you'd expect. Mana Crypt, Petal, LED, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Talisman. We're going to be using Underworld Breach, so that's why we've included Lion's Eye Diamond, Lotus Petal. There is some wheels in the list, but it's not all of them by any means. And then the rest is just for ramp or for copying spells. So you got the Pyromancer or the Primal Amulet for that kind of thing, helping us cast those spells. So really sweet includes in both of those. Yeah, as I mentioned, we are going to be running an Underworld Breach loop, so it's going to really help us having, I guess, repeatable, you know, rituals from the graveyard with Lion's Eye Diamond and Lotus Petal. So yeah, really sweet includes there. Moving on to sorceries and instants, we have a huge amount. So we have Brainstorm, Flusterstorm, Mystical Tutor, Pyroblast, Red Elemental Blast, Abrade, Arcane Denial, Snap, Narset's Reversal, Muddle the Mixture, Mana Drain, Desperate Ritual, Cyclonic Rift, Brain Freeze, Deflecting Swat, Fierce Guardianship, Frantic Search, Ghostly Flicker, Intuition, Reiterate, Valakut Awakening, Expansion Explosion, Force of Will, and Illusionist Stratagem. Now, if you wanted to go for a complete CEDH build, you can definitely include more of the free counter spells and everything like that. I wanted this list to be a little bit more proactive. I'm sure there's going to be an optimized CEDH style list. You'll be able to look that up in the database if that's your thing. This is just essentially a full power storm deck, so we're not really trying to necessarily spike it out at a CEDH table. You know, this will be able to play, but we're not trying to just do that full degeneracy. So I guess the notable includes for the instance, Intuition. We can make a whole bunch of Intuition piles with either our Narumeha, and dual caster mage style lists, or we could be doing things with LED and Faithless Looting and a wheel and Underworld Breach, all of that kind of stuff. So there's a whole bunch of different piles that, you know, even if you just have one extra piece in your hand, you can be making some intuition piles that are going to let you win on the spot. Brain Freeze, obviously another great include in that. So we've got tutors, we've got some counter spells, we've got Cyclonic Rift. Yeah, all of these are just really about getting that storm count and pumping up Veyran as much as we can. When we move on to sorceries, we've got Crash Through, Faithless Looting, Gamble, Ponder, Preordain, Grape Shot, Merchant Scroll, Twin Flame, Heat Shimmer, Jeska's Will, Wheel of Fortune, Windfall, Empty the Warrens, Mana Geyser, Saheeli's Artistry, and Echo of Eons. You can definitely chuck Time Twister in as well if you've got that. There's a whole bunch of other things that you might want to consider too, but this is really just about having our Heat Shimmers and Twin Flames are going to help us basically cast our Narumeha or Dual Caster Mage loops. Really sweet in terms of just getting everything infinite at that point, and yeah, generating a whole bunch of mana or really anything else. Saheeli's Artistry is super cool too, because with Narumeha you can create infinite tokens as well, so that's pretty awesome. Yeah, Empty the Warrens, probably the weakest sorcery, so you know, if you're not wanting to sort of include that, I wouldn't blame you, but we've got a payoff for Storm in that respect. We've got Grape Shot as well for Storm. Both of those are great cards to cast, because each copy triggers the Magecraft, not just the actual casting. So if you know you get a Storm counter 12 and then your Grape Shot, you know you're actually going to get a copy, a trigger from Magecraft every single one of those Storm copies. So yeah, insanely big. It's also going to let you remove all of those blockers as well if you just want to swing an Alpha Strike to kill one particular player in combat. The other one that's pretty sweet, Flusterstorm as a Storm card, because it's going to just let you do so many crazy things. You know, all of your creatures are going to synergize really efficiently with having multiple copies. So if you've got an Emetus out on the field, it's going to, you know, draw you a whole bunch of cards or make a whole bunch of, you know, tokens, something like that. Really awesome include with that as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much the spells and the instants and sorceries. We've also got Narset and Saheeli to round it out for our actual planeswalkers. Narset's just great with wheels. You know, we've got Hull Breacher as well, but then we've got Saheeli, which is a you know, a prowess style trigger as well. So we're going to be getting 2 servos for every single cast of our you know, our instant or sorceries, or all of our Magecraft triggers in that respect. Moving on to lands and enchantments, we have Mystic Remora and Underworld Breach being the only enchantments for the actual list. So, you know, really light on enchantments. I think Mystic Remora is just an auto include in most blue decks these days. Underworld Breach is just for all of our combos. So yeah, there's plenty of, I guess, primers on how to play Underworld Breach loops, or as they're colloquially known in Australia when we're playing Highlander, as Slush Puppy, because it always ends in a Brain Freeze. For lands, we've got Ancient Tomb, Arid Mesa, Bloodstained Mire, Cavern of Souls, City of Brass, Command Tower, Emergent Zone, 2 islands, Invenisphere, Gemstone Caverns, Forbidden Orchid, Flooded Strand, Fiery Islet, Exotic Orchid, Mana Confluence, Misty Rainforest, 2 mountains, Mystic Sanctuary, Polluted Delta, Prismatic Vista, Scalding Tarn, Wooded Foothills, Volcanic Island, Training Center, Steam Vents, Snow-Covered Mountain, and 2 snow-covered islands. So very basic stuff with that. You know, there's nothing too spicy in this particular list. I would say that Emergent Zone's pretty sweet. Sometimes you might want to, you know, start getting those sorceries to pump up Veyran out of lethal damage if you're getting it bolted or something like that, and you've only got sorceries in hand. In Invenisphere, you know, it's really just a reload in some instances. Something might happen where you can't actually, you know, go off on that turn, or you just need an extra piece, so you can sacrifice it, you know, go and get yourself an LED or something like that. Mystic Sanctuary, obviously a sweet card overall. You know, there's plenty of targets for that to put back on your top of your deck. Yeah, and really good if, you know, you can then go and redraw whatever it is you might be targeting on that particular turn. So that's really the list overall. what I really like about this is that you've got a whole bunch of options. I think every turn we've got enough cantrips and enough repeatable draw spells and everything like that, that you should never really sort of untap and get to a turn and go, right, I can't really do anything this turn. You know, there's always going to be a whole bunch of things that you can do. And for a deck that really doesn't have that many creatures, you've got a whole boatload of actual, I guess, tokens and, you know, ways that you can have an aggressive board state that isn't particularly vulnerable to board wipes. You know, you're not committing 15 cards to put onto the battlefield. You know, you're going to generate some of your tokens from Saheeli, you're going to be able to generate some from Pyromancer, and that's all going to, I guess, add a whole bunch of presence. You know, it's going to preserve your life total and allow you to attack as well without having to, you know, actually commit a whole bunch of permanent cards from your hand. So really sweet in that regards. Some of the other cards that you might want to consider are Throes of Chaos. You know, as I mentioned, we've got Time Twister. There's other wheels that you might want to include, you know, Wheel of Fate or Wheel of Misfortune. I'm sure I've forgotten a few others somewhere along that. And, you know, you're going to find that in this, you know, you might feel like you want to run Krark's Thumb as well, or Sakashima of 1,000 Faces, I think is the name of the card. I should know this, I did a deck tech on it. Yeah, essentially, you know, there's really a lot of flexibility, as we've had quite a lot of new cards for include in this type of deck, in this like red, blue, storm type list. Thank you so much for checking out the deck tech. Coming up on the channel, we're going to be doing a few older commanders. I'm going to be tackling Yorion in an upcoming video. I'm also going to be looking at doing an update to my Nethroi list that we had last year. So if either of those tickle your fancy, hit the sub button and you'll be able to check them out where you go. Thank you so much for all of the support. The channel's been growing so quickly lately. I just can't believe we've almost doubled in size in the last 28 days. So yeah, thank you so much for the support. And if you like what you see here and you would like to see more of it, hit that subscribe button and leave me a comment in chat. I do respond to everyone. Really appreciate everyone's support, and thanks. Bye for now.